The ability of just about anyone to contact everyone anywhere in the world is down to this man, Tim Berners-Lee. As a young English physicist, Berners-Lee came up with a program language that enabled computers connected to the internet to exchange data. Back then, he was more concerned about linking academic computers around the world, the science community. And something else, Tim Berners-Lee didn't get his language patented. The World Wide Web was free of charge from the beginning on. That might have had something to do with how the internet swept and changed the world in such a short time.
Well, we're getting to this point in just a few months when, for the first time, more than half the world will be online. We're calling it a 50-50 moment. And that's a moment where I think we've got to do two things. Firstly, we've got to say, what about the next 50%? And there's a lot of challenge in how we're going to get everybody connected, or even the majority of the world connected. But there's also, of course, a lot to do to make the web better. And whether that's dealing with privacy concerns, with content online, with governments censoring or cutting access to the web in different parts of the world, there's lots to do to make sure that we're getting the web we want, not a web that actually hurts humanity.
Because that's the downside. Enormously powerful tech conglomerates like Facebook and Google, who collect, collate and monetize personal data. Governments that spy on their citizens. They make Berners-Lee livid. So nowadays he's working to help internet users regain control and ownership of their personal data.
DW business reporter Rob Watts has more on this story for us. Hi, Rob. Thank you for joining us. It's hard to believe. So 30 years ago, the entire World Wide Web was created?
Yes, that's right. And what is important to differentiate between is the internet and the World Wide Web. So the internet is something that's been around since the 1960s in one form or another. And what we're talking about today is the www dot that we know, the World Wide Web. It's what we access when we go onto a web browser such as Firefox or Safari or Internet Explorer. And that was proposed 30 years ago by a man called Tim Berners-Lee. We can actually see him on this picture here, third from the left, celebrating at CERN, where he was working at the time 30 years ago. And he proposed what, at the time, he called an information management system. And it was a way in which all the different computers at CERN could talk to each other and share information that, until that point, had been incompatible with each other.
So it's a pretty incredible accomplishment, but it sounds like Tim Berners-Lee is actually not that happy with what the World Wide Web has become.
No, I mean, he invented it to be a great leveller that everyone could access for free, that everyone could pool all of their information, and then all together we could solve the world's problems. But he has, in the past few days, been speaking about this, and indeed today at CERN, saying that he has concerns about the direction in which the World Wide Web has gone since he invented it. There are three things in particular that he points out that upset him. State actors using his tool to spread misinformation. He talks about advertising models that encourage clickbait, so information that's not really of any great informative value. He also doesn't like the way that the internet has encouraged outraged and polarising debate.
It certainly has. You know, the World Wide Web was always free. It still is technically, but we do kind of pay a price, don't we, for what we do online?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, sometimes we literally pay a price, you know, to access certain websites, which Tim Berners-Lee might say is against his original principle. But also, the big thing that we all pay with is data. And it's something that Tim Berners-Lee is trying to change. In fact, he's part of a group that's trying to establish what are called pods, ways in which that people can keep all of their data in one place and then control how the likes of Facebook, Google, Amazon access that data and what data they can access. He's also pushing for something that he calls the Contract for the Web, which is an international set of laws signed up to by the nations of the world that can govern how we all use the internet and how our information is used.
Maybe a way to change the next 30 years of the World Wide Web. All right. Rob Watts, thank you so much, our business reporter with this story. Thank you.